Welcome back to OT Between the Sheets, a podcast designed to have uncomfortable conversations foster pleasurable outcomes. I'm your host, Nicole, an occupational therapist, pelvic health specialist, sexologist, educator, entrepreneur, author, kink enthusiast, cat lover, and all-around conversationalist. My partner and co-host, Jasmine and I, will be discussing various sexuality topics that the average person might not know about, fully understand, or feel comfortable enough to talk about with others. This podcast is intended for informational and educational purposes only, for an audience of consenting adults seeking ways to improve their sex life, unabashedly learn about others' sex lives, have a laugh, or some food for thought. These conversations are with, for, and about real people, regardless of race, sex, gender, orientation, relationship style, ability, body type, or intellect. Some discussions may be more explicit than others, as well as more uncomfortable than others. Listeners' discretion is advised. Take the best and leave the rest.
Hey guys, welcome back to the OT Between the Sheets podcast. I am your host, Jasmine.
And I'm Nicole.
And we are sorry that we missed you guys last week. We just had some life things happening.
Y'all, okay. For those of you that are closer to me, you understand. For those of you that are not,
we gonna
heater
explain.
broke.
We're gonna explain. So 2 weeks ago, we noticed that it was extremely cold in our house, even though it was kind of warm outside. Come to find out, our furnace went. So, we had to figure out how to get that fixed.
Life was lifing.
Drop a couple bags.
You know what I'm saying?
But then also, in the midst of all that, no heat, we also went on a girls' trip to the Poconos with a couple of our friends, which was so much fun.
Yep.
And we got to relax, chit-chat, have a couple beverages, go snow tubing.
Maybe a little more beverages than we needed to, but that's okay.
If y'all want to see the blog on that, you guys can go to YouTube and go to JoJo's Point of View. She blogged our entire trip.
Yep.
That's JoJo Point of View on YouTube, and you can check it out. But while we were there, we had some interesting conversations that we were like, all right, we taking notes. We bringing this back to the OT Between the Sheets podcast because we got a couple topics that we wanted to share with you guys. One being in general is the topic that we're going to talk about today, which is courting versus dating.
Yep. So I saw this video in my lovely doom scrolling, and it was this person that was talking about how people don't really know the difference between courting versus dating anymore, and how when they are out here and they are talking to people, they like to get clarification on what that person's definition of courting versus dating was. And while we were on this girls trip, we asked the group, what y'all think? And there was several different takes on the definitions. Some people's definitions were opposites. I also asked some of my coworkers, and same thing. Some people's definitions were opposite. And so we found this to be a very interesting topic, because if you are out here dating or courting and the people that you're going out with have a different understanding of what those terms mean, even if they don't use those terms necessarily, I can make for some miscommunication on each other's parts. And so, as someone who loves to study relationships and connections and communication, and how that all kind of leads back to sex and sexuality, I thought this was a fabulous topic to kind of get into today. Just kind of a little food for thought.
And myself, I had these terms flip-flopped. I used them the opposite way of their meaning. So, a little backstory. When me and Nicole first started dating, I would think that the beginning of our time that I was courting, just getting to know and trying to see her interests, see what she likes and stuff like that, not necessarily tied to that person per se. And then once we started dating, in my eyes, it was more intentional, and hey, I like you and I want to see more and be more direct with our relationship. After talking with Nicole about this, she was like, you use them the wrong way in the wrong content. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Dating is casual, and then courting sounds more sophisticated. Courting sounded more like casual. And I'm like, oh, this is some Bridgerton type stuff.
Listen,
And
okay, the Bridgerton has me on a chokehold, y'all. A chokehold. But then we looked at, because then we went back and forth like, wait, is it your definition that's wrong or is it my definition that's wrong? Is it Bridgerton that just has us kind of all confused? Because, if y'all watch Bridgerton, you have everybody that's kind of, out here on the dance floor. Let me get your ticket so I could put your initials on there. Said I, courted you around the dance floor. So you would think that it's kind of like, okay, man, we're just testing the waters. But then, when someone shows up to the house, it's like, oh, okay, like you're the one I chose.
Right. So the definition of dating is more casual process to get to know someone, no commitment and no expectations. While courting is more intentional, structured approach to a relationship and managing long-term goals.
Mm-hmm. And then when I was doing some research for this podcast, I actually looked a little bit more into it. And per eHarmony, they were saying that courting is more formal, where everyone knows what the final step is, which is like a long-term relationship or marriage, whichever one you choose. So over time, the language has changed, but the intention remains the same for many. So one of the things that my lovely coworker Beth, who's a little bit older than me, she said that back in her day, it was going steady, right? Or Jasmine would be like, oh, we dating, So like assigning all these labels or assigning these labels like boyfriend, girlfriend, partner. So either way, regardless of how you say it, whether you're going steady, whether you dating, whether you are a specific label, you are courting that person with the intention of trying to build some type of future.
Right.
Whereas with dating per se, it's more, okay, I'm dating around, kind of getting to know people to figure out who I want to court and who I'm not interested, who my values align with and who my values don't align with.
Right. So like, as my mother would say, when you're dating, you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket.
Right.
But when you're courting, your eggs is in that basket. Y'all about to make scrambled eggs, mix them up.
Scrambled eggs.
So you spread your eggs out when you're dating. You want to figure out, see which basket your egg feel much comfortable in.
And, and then when I thought about it, I was like, okay, as someone who identifies as non-monogamous, which non-monogamy meaning I am comfortable being in a relationship with more than one person. Does that mean I am dating more than one person? Am I courting more than one person? Can I be either? And technically it is, you could be either, right? So then as I thought more about it, I was like, okay, so me personally as a non-monogamous person, I could be monogamous and be in only one relationship, court one person, or I can be in a multiple non-monogamous relationships where I'm courting multiple people, trying to build some type of a future, et cetera, et cetera. Clearly, y'all know that Jasmine has me tied up in a chokehold, so your girl went from non-monogamy to I'm non-monogamous in a monogamous relationship, but that's neither here nor there. So
we will go over another later episode because I know my friend Lindsay wants to know the different terms and what is monogamous, what is non-monogamous, what is polyamorous, all those type of terms that you may hear and people use sometimes in the wrong context. But we will be going over that in another episode because it will break down some clarification on things that when you're on these dating websites and they ask you these questions, you're like, I don't know, I'm just trying to find somebody, or I'm trying to find friends, or whatever the case may be. Because I have a couple friends right now who may be in that dating era and they're like, what is this? So
multiple friends.
We both got multiple friends. Don't worry. We will get to it. But back to the topic at hand, these dating versus courting and what does it mean? There are different languages, there are different expectations you have with your partner when you're at these levels.
So when it comes to expectations of dating, that's like the length of time that you're dating, the fact that you're getting to know someone, you're meeting friends and family. That's a question mark because, when you're just out here casually dating, are you someone that is like, the only way you'll meet my family is if I'm serious about you? Or Is it that I want you to meet my friends and family to see if you really vibe with them so I can figure out if I want to take it another step further?
Right, because if you're hanging out and say you're hanging out one night, you guys go back to the place and you just accidentally wake up at somebody's house and the mom just happened to be in the kitchen with their coffee, was it intentional that you met that parent? Or,
Right.
accidental. And then you're now having this awkward conversation like, oh, who's this girl or who's this guy? Like, is that the part of the relationship that you were expecting for someone to meet the family?
Right. And even if you're not someone who's like still staying at home, because listen, we got bills as us, 25, 30-year-olds out here still trying to date, So if you still staying at home, that's fine. But
Absolutely
what if
fine.
you, it is totally fine. But if you are also someone who is like rooming with a friend or rooming with, I don't know,
Bob.
Bob, yeah. Are you okay with Bob out here like, yo, who's this stranger in our house?
Right.
And are they with you?
Right.
Are you trying to keep it hush hush? So that's something, trying to figure out whether or not it is going to stay casual. Like, are you guys dating and you end up becoming friends? Do you become more? Do you just say, you know what, this has been great. You're a great person, or you're not a great person, but I'm just not interested in pursuing anything further. Is sex on the table or not if you're out here just dating? And can you date other people? So these are conversations that you want to be having.
And then emphasis on the conversations. Like, a lot of people just go with the flow and then the expectation is that the partner or someone else will make that move or have that initial start of the conversation. Like, hey, what are we, or what are we doing? That what are we question should be asked on both ends. Like, if you're a female and heterosexual relationship and you're expecting the man to make the first move at all times, then you are left wondering, like, what if? And then you feel like, I shouldn't ask what if, like, I don't want to do that. But if your intentions are to continue and move forward with this person, you're gonna have to talk. You're gonna have to have this conversation. And I think that's where a lot of people start to get their feelings hurt, because they, in their mind, are moving with intention, but they are not sure if their partner is moving with that same intention.
And I think the other thing too is regardless of the like your orientation and the dynamic between you guys, there's this society expectation, right? So even if you're in a same-sex relationship, whoever is the more dominant personality or the more male presenting or the more that's like, okay, yeah, I'm the one taking charge, they're automatically the one that's assumed to make the first move, whether it's the first to ask to be in a courting relationship, whether it's the first to make the move for the first kiss or, to take it a step further. And now we talking, bumping and grinding. Like, they're always the one. Yes, bumping and grinding. So they're always the first one, right? But why do they have to be? If you are feeling some type of way and you're like, you know what, this is where I'm at, then I would want you to start to develop this confidence in yourself to say, you know what, let me communicate that. Because listen, we are too old and Jesus is taking too many people out in this world. Okay? Too many people out too quickly. Facts. So don't waste your time talking about, well, they'll say something. They have to be feeling the same things I'm feeling. Because that's not necessarily true. As someone who is, I have been told that I am overly flirtatious and also exceedingly nice.
You're nice. You are.
Yeah, thank you.
Very sweet.
So, but I have been told that someone else takes it as me flirting with them. And I'm very much just like, you're a person, I'm a person. Let's get to know each other. Oh. Whereas they're like, nah, let me get your number. And I'm like, whoa, I'm sorry, what? Like, I thought we were just having a conversation here.
If y'all know me and Nicole's dynamic, we're like two opposites. Nicole may be like, hey, friend, and start talking, and then like may touch the arm or something, and they like, oh, what's going on? And I'm just like, staring at them with the death stare, like, why are y'all even looking at me?
Resting bitch face.
Resting bitch face is very serious on this side.
But
so, but that balances out our dynamic, because y'all know she's very outgoing.
I am.
Very extroverted person.
I am.
And my little introverted self.
Right. So, but those are the expectations of dating. And then when you sit there and you're like, okay, yep, we gonna make it work. What are the expectations of courting? Because you can decide that you want to be in a long-term relationship with someone, but you have no intention of marriage. You have no interest in marriage. You don't want to be married. They just are someone that you can see yourself either sharing a household together, maybe even sharing kids together, financially being in some type of dynamic together, whatever the case may be. So then you want to talk about, okay, so what does that long-term look like for you? And then are you someone that's like, okay, in my long-term relationship, like we're moving in together. I'm seeing what you're like in bed. You know what I mean? Like, I want to know if this is going to work. You know, do you brush your teeth awkward and weird? Can I live with that? Or am I like, nah,
Are you
gotta
snoring?
go.
Are you snoring?
Are you snoring? Like, these are things we need to know. You know, and then we start talking about, you know, how do we combine lives? How do we combine friendships? How do we get family members of opposite sides together? You know, how do we combine bank accounts, payment structures? You know what I'm saying? Let's
How
have
do
a
you
discussion
pay your
about
bills?
children.
Like, is there, what's
your credit score? You know those things? You ever see that video with Steve Harvey? Wasn't Steve Harvey? It was some guy or a pastor. Maybe it wasn't Steve Harvey. I think it was a pastor. And he was like, these are the questions you need to be asking when you out here dating. What's your credit score? How you wash your butt? Do you use a washcloth? Do you use a loofah?
Do you use your hands?
Do you just use your hands? We need to know.
Right. But these are serious questions because one of my pet peeves is when you're chewing with your mouth open.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to know these type of things.
You need to know these things.
Because you're going to have 3 meals a day with this person.
Maybe. I mean, you know,
Are you going to be annoyed 3 times a day out of a year?
For every day that you're together.
For the rest of your lives, are you going to be annoyed with that?
Yeah. You're right.
Sound.
Listen,
anyway,
we ain't roasting on this episode today because I'll roast you behind. Okay.
Listen, I'm not just saying. I'm just saying.
Oh, okay. Very well. And then also, are you someone, you know, who uses these two topics interchangeably? So, you know, as for me and Jasmine, so I say that dating is like dating around and courting is we're intentional. Whereas she said that dating is intentional. Courting is like I'm going around. So y'all off the bat, that should be one of y'all questions, not just, you know, what's your favorite color? What do you like to eat?
Stop asking people what's their favorite color.
It don't matter. It does not matter in the beginning, people.
Unless you're about to paint a room their favorite color.
Right.
Give them a only dress in that color. Like, stop asking. It doesn't matter. There's many colors on this rainbow that you can like. I like. What's your favorite color? Oh, I like blue.
And y'all who are out here online dating, y'all know that there are some
That is
questions.
a closed-ended question.
Closed-ended.
We don't want questions that ends with a period and now you got to ask another question.
All right. We try
open-ended questions get you the most information that you want from that person.
Communicate.
Increasing your communication.
So you can add this to y'all list of questions to ask. Do you believe that there is a difference between courting and dating? If so,
write that down.
What are your definitions? I hope y'all got a pen. I'm going to say it again. Do you believe there is a difference between dating and courting? And if so, what are your definitions?
And then even take it a step further, do you have a time frame of how long that you're in the dating phase and how long you're in the courting phase?
Yes. If I could snap.
Get a burn, 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 burn.
Yes, absolutely. Because listen, some people will sit there and say that, you know, you have to be dating for at least a year before you can talk about marriage. And, you know, you got some people that were like, you know, we only dated for a month and then we got engaged. And society is like, oh my goodness, that's too soon. You don't really know a person. Okay, first of all,
my take on the whole society's expectations of your relationship is if society's paying your bills, then they have a say in your relationship. If society's not paying your bills, it don't matter. Go at y'all pace. Like, who cares?
Right. Exactly.
And most of y'all grandparents was out here dating when they was in their 12s and
maybe
everything
like great grandparents.
Great grandparents. They knew that person for a long time. Yep. Most of them grew up with that person.
We're not getting political on here, but I'm just saying, women were not allowed to do much.
Right.
So you was in a marriage whether you wanted to be in that marriage or not. your family wanted the best for you. They put you in that relationship and you had to, quote, stick it out.
Right.
So, whether it's for a month or 5 months, 10 years or 2, what those phases look like for you. I didn't mean to rhyme like that.
Bars.
What those two look like for you is important. So you want to make sure that y'all have a understanding as you start nearing that, I'm feeling like I want to get into that courting phase. How about you? Do you need a little bit more time? And am I willing to wait that time? Or am I going to, cut the strings and move on to something or someone else? All right?
Because not for nothing, most people aren't dating just to have somebody by their side. They're dating to start something. When you get married and you start a family, you're starting a family. They're not joining your already existing family. You're starting your own traditions. You're starting your own lives together. So you want to make sure you're with someone who you can see that in the future.
Right. Someone or someone's. Exactly.
And if you're going to get old with this person. So if you're going based only off looks, your looks is going to change over time.
God willing, you're going to get old with this person.
Okay. But again, if you're being superficial and only doing, oh, this person has money, this person has looks, this person has this, all that can change in an instant. How about, does this person have a good soul?
Amen.
That's what you should be looking for.
Right.
Can this person make me laugh when I'm down?
Right. Can they pick me up when I'm feeling blue? Okay. And on to our last question our last point of interest as we talk about this conversation. One of the other questions I had was, do your expectations of what you would view in dating versus what you would view in courting change based off of age, race, gender, sexual orientation, any disabilities you might have? And I think yes. Specifically, I'm thinking for when you think about age, you sit there and you say, you have people that are in high school, 15, 16, 17 years old who are dating. They are probably dating versus courting. Do they know the difference or not? And what does that look like for them? Because, when you're in high school, you think that this is the love of your life. You're going to be high school sweethearts and blah, blah, blah. And then, college hits and sometimes that doesn't happen.
A whole nother world.
I do think age plays a part. And that's like the younger side. What about our older folks who either go through a divorce or go through a spousal death? And now you have to be, if you choose to be, not you have to be, but if you choose to go back out into the dating world, are you someone that's off the bat looking to court somebody else because you're older and you're like, we ain't got time to, waste? Or are you someone that's like, no, I don't have any intentions of marrying again. I just want to date, meet new people, have a good time.
Right. And then that nice population of in the middle where you have an older woman, older male dating a younger male, younger female, or however the case may be, is one person looking to court and one person looking to date.
Right.
I feel like the age blend that is happening right now with this many years older than I am or this many years younger than I am, you guys have a harder time to really have that communication and discuss what are your intentions. Are we just dating and I just need me a nice little sugar daddy, Or are you about to be my child's new stepmom even though y'all might be the same age?
Right. So, and then, when it comes to like sexual orientation, there's this stigma and / stereotype, right, that lesbians jump into relationships exceedingly fast.
Ooh.
Yes. So like, we saw each other from across the room. We exchanged numbers. We went on a date the next day and we moved in by the weekend. Like that kind of shit. So
I want to pause this for a second. I need to pause this for a second. And let's get a little personal here. Because if anyone has ever had a conversation with Nicole about how long me and Nicole have been dating, we have been dating for some years.
At least 5
years.
Technically.
So, Nicole, can you please break it down to these people?
The way I do the math.
The way you do the math of our relationship. Wait. We never told them how we met.
That is for a different episode. Okay. We will do that for a different episode.
All right, guys. I tried to get y'all in there.
That'll be the next episode.
Okay. But based off the math, what was our dating phase, what was our courting phase, and how long have we been together?
Okay, so our dating phase was probably a month. Our courting phase, we are still in our courting phase. And that has been, y'all, I think it was 6 months. Yeah, I think it was 6 months.
It hasn't been.
I'm pretty sure. October, November, December, January, February, March. 6 months since you asked me. Cute. Okay, anyway. So we've been in our courting phase for about 6 months. So
I say it hasn't because there's some extra days. We're not necessarily at that exact date
whatever.
yet, but okay.
We're almost at that date, so it don't matter. It's been 6 months.
Since I asked you.
Right.
Okay.
So, but technically, when you're thinking about the average of dating, right, you tend to see this person maybe once a week. If you're more than once a week, if you're lucky, but, you know, with us being all busy, maybe once a week. So you figure there's roughly 4 weeks in a month. So 4 times a month, which then 4 times 12 months is like, what, 48? So 48 days out of the first year, y'all have seen each other. Now, of course, as it's going well and great and you are starting to see each other more, but if you're sticking to just the 1 time a week, or if you do like 4 times 52, which I don't have my calculator, y'all, so y'all do the math. Either way, that's how long y'all have been dating in that year. Whereas for us, like, we met on a Tuesday and there have only been 2 days that I have not seen Jasmine or been in some type of activity with her since then. 2 or 3 days, something like that. So if you calculate all those days between our first date and now, it calculates to at least, what, 3 years, 3.5 years? Wild to me. And then when you put that into, you know, the standard time frame, I mean, a decent amount of people have moved in by 3 years. Some people are married by 3 years. So, you know, people want to come at us for potentially moving fast. And I'm like, did we though? The math doesn't lie.
Just so y'all know, we fell completely into the typical lesbian stereotype that
Shut up.
Lesbians move so fast. We tumbled. We rolled through that stereotype.
Back on hand. That'll be a different. So, yes. So, when it comes to that, you have the lesbians that are like exceedingly fast. And then you have potentially heterosexual couples that the time frame really does vary depending on what their past relationships look like, what they're looking for in the future, what career status looks like, education status looks like, family styles, like it all kind of ebbs and flows. And then lastly, when it comes to like if you are someone who potentially has a disability, one of the classes that I took in sex ed school was a sex and disabilities course, and I watched a video where a lot of different people who had different disabilities, whether they were in a wheelchair, which is a physical disability, some of them were diagnosed with autism. They were explaining how having a disability sometimes can be a decent amount of the time can be very challenging because you're trying to find people that can understand you, can understand how your brain works, can understand how your body works, how you're able to do different things, are always questioning your ability to have a quote unquote typical or normal relationship with this other feature that they have to deal with. So sometimes that can be frustrating. And then there are other people who fetishize people with a disability. So then it's trying to figure out, you know, are you dating a predator or are you dating someone that genuinely wants to get to know you? So really taking those things into consideration and then saying, okay, you have found this person that really likes you and really wants to get to know you. So does that mean that the dating phase is short and the courting phase is longer? Or are you just in a dating phase, period? You know, what does that look like? So there's a lot of different things that go into dating versus courting and vice versa. But we definitely found this topic to be of interest. And then when we were talking to friends and family about it, the different comments and considerations were also interesting. So we wanted to bring that to y'all attention.
The other last bit that I would like to put into this is that during these dating/courting phases, if you start to see these red flags or things that you don't think you would like to live with for the rest of your life, have those conversations or be like, hey, thank you for your time, but that's a no for me. You know what I mean? Don't feel as though like I'm dating someone, I'm finally dating someone, I need a partner and I have to stay with them, you can exit stage left. Like, you don't have to be with that person. The amount of people in this world, there's always plenty of fish in the sea.
Yep. Somewhere.
It may take that you need to explore outside of your hometown.
Yep.
Get out of the state that you're living in.
Get out of the state. Some of y'all may need to get out the country. You don't know. There are billions of people in this world.
You don't know. So don't feel as though you're stuck and that you have to stay. Because
and also for my people that enjoy being single. Listen, enjoy your singlehood.
Right.
Okay? Ain't nobody out here is saying you need to be in a relationship.
Right. If you have your own way of living and you can say that I'm waking up happy, I'm going to bed happy, and I'm happy with my life, don't feel as though you need to change or you need to change that. Because if that makes you happy, at the end of the day, you just need to do what's making you happy.
Yep.
And the amount of depression that you see right now because people post their perfect life on social media.
Right.
No one's posting the sad days. No one's posting when they're upset. No one's posting when they are broke and don't have no money. They're only posting the good when you see a smile. So it's a facade. Social media is a facade for the perfect life. So don't look at this person's Instagram like, oh my God, they have everything all figured out. They go on trips every week. They get to travel, but yet their bank accounts is at zero.
Right.
Yep. Because I was just watching the Gabby Petito Netflix show, and there was a lot of red flags, but that girl was just so like, oh my God, he's my person. No, she should have left.
Okay, we understand, babe. I think the people of the OT Between the Sheets podcast get it. Anywho, thank you so much for coming to our lovely tangent on dating versus courting. Next episode, yes, maybe we will talk about, how in the world we came to be
Such
Jasmine
a great
and Nicole,
couple. The amazing
amazing duo.
Nicole snagged me.
Yep, basically. Snatched. But until next time, y'all, thank you for coming to OT Between the Sheets for yet another episode.
Thank y'all for listening to episode number 4. Catch us next week. Same time, same place, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on all platforms.
Yep.
Thank you.